Right now we're building this building. Right next to Chicano Park. Chicano Park is in the background over there, all the beautiful colors, and then the building over here. So we're going to be doing something about it. And in the tradition of Picasso, Piazza Picasso, to me, is the flag of international revolution of the art. And based on that, the next sketch is going to be next week. We're going to be painting something like this, really raw, really like it's just been flashed there. Like I was in a hurry because there's no money there. No, because I gotta keep doing more murals. Thank you.
Yes. Take us off. So I bring to the podium Lalo Alcaraz. Yay! Hi, wow, I'm really impressed by the turnout. Oh, there's Igor.
Sorry I'm late.
That's all right. Had you pointed out?
I had to run over a few people to get here, but everybody to do so.
Good. All right, so of course I did more than the allotted number of slides, so I'm going to blast through my slides and show you a bunch of cartoons. We know that Trump got a new communication director. It's Scaramucci, right? And now I know what Scaramucci means. It means this. So he's been Scaramucci. Right? Look at that. I want to be on the record coining that. So I'm the official White House untelevised press briefing cartoonist. And so here's my first one I did when Sean Spicer was still working, because they didn't allow cameras at the courtroom, so I nominated myself to show what was actually going on in the press briefings. And it was recently Take Your President to Work Day, every day. Thank you, Jesus, for building this wall that keeps the Mexicans out of Israel. Chupacabra. So I've been doing political cartoons for about 25 years. I started just, before that, drawing in my margins of my papers at school instead of paying attention. Luckily, I got such good grades in art that, I got tracked at my high school. All the Chicanos got either pushed out of school or tracked to vocational. It sounds like a 1950s story, right? But it was like the late 70s. And we got tracked into taking ROP vocation classes. And I went to Helix High School. I'm from Lemon Grove, California. It's here from Lemon Grove. I just ate at Carnitas Uruapan, which moved down the street. But anyway, that's a whole story. But so I was an angry young cholo until I met guys like Mario, like Victor Ochoa, like David Avalos, Chicano painters, mural painters at the Centro Cultural de la Raza, who had they had a PSA on cable access. Do they still have cable access here? But anyway, they showed a commercial for free mural painting classes. And I was 15 years old, and I went, I said, that sounds cool, and I went down there. And I think the first one I met was Victor, which is always shocking every time you meet Victor Ochoa. But he's a great guy, and these guys taught me how you can include art, you can include politics in art, which is the definition of Chicano art, to protest art. And, I like comics, so I eventually, added that component to address issues in the community. Through comics, and also using my culture growing up here on the border. And so I'll try to be fast. Mexico built the Trump wall for free. I don't know if you heard. They said, we'll pay for that. Yeah. And here's my Mother's Day comic in La Cucaracha. It's a real bummer. And the only good thing about this is I did a Father's Day one too, so I kind of like just changed the characters and kept the wall, you know. But La Cucaracha is my daily comic strip that comes out in the paper here. Been doing it. The Union Tribune, to their credit, has carried it since day one. Hopefully for a few more years, we'll keep going. It generates, I think, the most hate mail in the Union Tribune, because my friends from San Diego will send me this, like, dude, you're in the paper again. You got more hate letters. And I'll tell a real quick story. There was an editor there at the paper who told me, man, there's these senior citizens that write letters every week. And it's like from a convalescent home. It's like a retirement home. It's like an activity, right? It's like they weekly are calling for the paper to pull my strip. This is a few years ago. And he says, the guy wrote, one guy who's an old Mexican-American guy, he said, this guy wrote a letter saying that you're a pornographer. Right? Because I used to do in the strip, I used to do a series called Believe It or Nalgas, right? Like, believe it or not, like Ripley's. And so the guy said, that's so offensive, he's a pornographer, and he had a letter. So the guy called the senor, and he told them, you know, I just want to verify your address, your name, and everything, we're going to run your letter. Would you also like me to tell Mr. Alcaraz anything? You know, since I talk to him all the time. And the guy goes, well, yes, of course. You tell him to change Believe It or Nalgas to Believe It or Culo. Isn't that worse? I mean, it's like anyway, the best hate letter I ever got, though, said, go back to Africa. So.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You just skimmed over a very interesting intersection, and that is between Chicano public art or political art and comics.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, since you said you started off, you took this course from Mario about mural art, which is public art. How do you see this relationship between, you know, from the American side, it's comics and newspapers, and it's comics on the street, you know, on the stands, on the street corner, and, you know, the drugstores and stuff like that. But your approach to being a cartoonist came from public art.
Yeah.
So how do you see that?
Well, I think I continued the tradition now that you mention it, because as there's fewer and fewer papers, which putting a comic in a paper is a public act, but it's not everybody has a paper. But now I post, in addition to the papers I appear in, I post every cartoon I do, I post it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And that's like putting it on, you know, your telephone pole by your house, you know, like, so I guess it's still a public thing for me. When I used to Xerox my cartoons at Office Depot, because I had to shrink them down to a certain size on a copy machine, I used to like make extra ones and give them out to the customers that were standing next to me and see what they say, you know, because it's what is important to me is the art, the point and the issue, you know, so the more people that can see it, you know, the better, for sure, so in the public. I really like this cartoon. We have to move on, but this is one of my favorite Trump cartoons. No translation required for that one. Here's, you know, we all grew up with these signs here. Speaking of public art, here's my first art piece I did in public. I was a young, tender, 15-year-old cholito in a work program during the summers. I think these are illegal now as child labor, but it was the Stoner and Cholo Employment Program that had us doing hard labor on the school campus, and that's my first art piece. There, we showed the Mother's Day, Arizona. Show Me Your Papers, Geronimo, and in commemoration, in honor of Chicano Con, I did Logan, and we have, I don't know if I can make that play. I have a program